All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to our weekly wellness sessions for musicians. My name is Francesca Leo, and I'm the chair of the Wellness Committee for the Puerto Rico Flute Symposium. We are so excited to introduce Dr. Cody Weisbach for today's session. He will be leading a session titled Microbreaks for Musicians' Health. So just a few housekeeping reminders before we begin. If you're interested in viewing the auto-translated Spanish captions, you can go ahead and use the login credentials we've provided in the post description below. If you have any questions or anything during the presentation, feel free to drop a comment and I will make sure that they get to Cody. And if you've been enjoying these sessions and you're interested in contributing with a donation, we have a PayPal donate link in the post description below as well. So Dr. Cody Weisbach is a Boulder, Colorado-based physical therapist with an interest in the prevention and treatment of playing-related musculoskeletal disorders in musicians. He writes an email newsletter called Musicians Maintenance that focuses on connecting musicians with science-based health resources. So I'm really excited to now turn this over to Dr. Weisbach for today's presentation.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for having me. This is really exciting and my first Facebook live stream, so fun for me. So what I wanted to talk about today is what I call microbreaks for musicians' health. And so what we want to talk about is a little brief description of how common overuse injuries occur, what microbreaks are and exactly how to do them, and then how to schedule them into your practice. So I just want you to be able to leave here with a little short presentation and a couple of actionable things that you can take directly into the practice room that take very little time, but can provide a significant benefit for you in terms of keeping you healthy so that I can enjoy all of your music. So let's get into it. So in terms of overuse injuries, this is a really big and complex topic that we can describe with a very simple analogy. And I call that the water and the cup. So if you think of a cup is your body and water getting poured into the cup is all of the things that your body has to deal with. So the amount of time that you're playing, fatigue, stress, all of the things is water going into your cup. Once that cup overflows is when you have an injury. And so the main thing that we want to have happen is to prevent an injury. With that model, it's a nice model. I really like it because it kind of informs what you can do to prevent injuries. Your options are pour less into the cup, empty the cup frequently before it overflows, and to create a bigger cup. So pouring less in would be things like activity modification, playing less, managing stress better, lots of things like that. We don't want to talk about that too much right now. Building a bigger cup would be a smart way or smart increasing of your playing time so that you allow your body time to adapt and get stronger and more resilient, or doing musician specific injury prevention exercises that are, the goal is to build resilience in your body and again, make that cup bigger. That's a whole nother topic. But in terms of little things that you can do to empty the cup before it overflows while you're playing, that's what microbreaks are all about. So let's talk about microbreaks. What are they? So it turns out that your body was designed to move, and when you're playing music, a lot of the parts of your body stay in one position for a long time. So common advice, whether it's for musicians or office workers or whoever, is to get yourself set up in a perfect ergonomic environment. And I'd certainly encourage that. I'd certainly encourage playing with good posture and with good technique and good mechanics. But just the fact is that our body is meant to move more frequently than that. So microbreaks are a nice way to get you moving a little bit frequently. The analogy that I like to use for these is like if you've ever gone hiking in the desert and you've walked long enough and far enough that you're thirsty already, like your mouth is dry, and you start trying to chug some water, it's already too late. You're already a little bit dehydrated. You can drink a bunch now, but you're probably going to have a hard rest of your hike. A better strategy would be to take little sips of water early and often before you get thirsty along the way. Microbreaks are little sips of movement early and often before you start feeling that stiffness and tension building up. If you start using these by the time that stiffness and tension has begun, you're already behind. You can move and fiddle around all you want, but it's going to be hard to lose that. So the idea is to move frequently before stiffness, tension, discomfort, pain come on, or at least be able to push those back further into your practice session. So what are micro breaks? I have two positions that I like to use. I guess two positions and one little thing you can do with your hand. So let's talk about the positions. If you like, you can do them with me. They're both super simple. I'm just going to move myself back so hopefully you can see me a little bit better. But the first one is just a simple turn your thumbs back, lift your chest, keep your chin down, big breath in, slow breath out, and relax. If you do one or two of those, that's your micro break, check mark, done. The other one that commonly gets used is as you're sitting, take your arms up, reach up, breathe in, and then relax down. That's micro break number two. Super simple. So one, thumbs back, chest up, chin down, big breath in, hold, breathe out. Micro break number two, reach your hands up over your head as far as you can. It doesn't matter which one of those that you use. Obviously, like you can use them in rehearsals. If you do the arms up over the head one in the middle of a rehearsal, that might look a little bit funny. The thumbs back, chest up just looks like you're doing a normal stretch. That doesn't look too crazy. So really simple things. I wouldn't take too long doing them. The other thing that's important about micro breaks is that while you're practicing, it can take some time to get into the flow of your practice. And we don't want to have the breaks take you out of your flow of practice, because if we do that, and if I'm encouraging every 15 or 20 minutes to move, but I'm going to have you like take a longer break, you never actually get into the flow of your practice, and you never actually get anything done. You're spending so much time like managing your body that you don't actually do what you came in to do. Micro breaks allow you to really quickly loosen something up and be right back to it. So in terms of frequency, again, your body, just the way that your body is designed, it needs to be doing something every 20 to 30 minutes, I would say. So as you're structuring your practice, as you're transitioning from one section of your practice to another, if you're kind of looking at that 20 to 30 minute time range, just schedule in a little micro break. Again, one of those, two of those maybe, and then on to your next block of practice. And then one of those, two of those, on to your next block of practice. But starting for sure at that first 20 to 30 minutes, get that first one in, take that little sip before tension starts setting on, and then continually on from there. Obviously, every hour to 2 hours, we'd like you to take a longer break and step away for a time, but this is just for during the middle of your practice. So that is the why take micro breaks, how to take your micro breaks, when to take your micro breaks, and so that's kind of what I'm hoping to help you out in terms of micro breaks. I think of them as one little piece of from a musician's health standpoint. I think that what's the most effective way to go about it is to try and make little tweaks in a lot of different areas. We call it like the 1% strategy. Do 1% better in a bunch of different areas, and all of a sudden that all builds up to something useful. So this is your 1% in the practice room. Oh, the third thing that you can do during your breaks is just a little shaking the hands. Shake the hands, shake the arms, shake the shoulders. A lot of people will do stretching. I would avoid stretching in the middle of your practice, because when you stretch and hold it, you're giving a big pull to the muscles through here. And research has shown that when you do a static stretch, your muscles don't perform as well immediately afterwards. And you'd like to keep those going. This is something that if you look at rock climbers have figured this out. For a while, they used to like be climbing, hang on the rope and stretch out. And then they figured out that actually makes them weaker. And now as they're hanging from their rope, they'll be shaking their hands to again, bring the blood back in and loosen everything up. So micro break one, thumbs back, chest up, chin down. Micro break two, arms up overhead, and shake the hands a little bit. So that is micro breaks in a nutshell. I hope those are a small, tiny little useful strategy for you that you will consider putting into your health and wellness plan and incorporate into your practices. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Hopefully it's short and sweet.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was so fascinating. And especially the part about the research showing that stretching actually can weaken your muscles during breaks. That is so interesting, because we all think of like stretching as being a good thing usually. When we take a break to practice and stretch, like you're being good to your body. That is so fascinating. And I think that's a really important comment that you made. So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, you bet. So I would say stretching is a great thing to do after your practice. Loosen things up. Like these are all wonderful stretches that you can do to give those muscles that you've just made do a bunch of work a little bit of love. But in the middle of your session, it does make you weaker. And also one thing that kind of got me was when I was going through the internet, seeing like what kind of health and wellness information there is for musicians. One of the things I looked at was a physical warm-up, and I saw the vast majority of physical warm-ups incorporated these stretches. Yeah. And that used to be the way that people warmed up. Like when I was in high school, you'd see like the football team out there doing their like 1, 2, 3, count to 10 in stretches. And it turns out same thing for all sports. You know, if you're doing static stretches, your muscles don't work nearly as well right after. You can wake them up pretty easily, but you're better off doing some kind of a dynamic warm-up, shaking, small positional breaks like that, and then stretching during, stretching for after. Great.
Awesome. That's so interesting. And I wonder if you have a minute, if you might be able to talk a little bit more about physical warm-ups. So we want to generally avoid stretching while we're physically warming up, but could you provide a few recommendations for some things that people might be able to do in their physical warm-up? I don't know if we have time.
I do have a warm-up on my website that I put together that's 4 minutes. I think it's just musiciansmaintenance.com/warmup. I know you've put together a couple as well that are wonderful. I think the movements that you do are less important. You know, I think it can be as easy as just go out and take a fast walk and get your heart rate pumping a little bit. You can do just some of the shaking, and some of those micro break positions would be a good start. I like a lot of like swingy kind of stuff. So like, like Tai Chi, body twists, arm circles, just curl down. Like if you're standing, curl down, stretch, curl up, arms overhead. A lot of yoga kind of things. There's a nice one as well where you start, you go kind of hands here, and then hands end up in this like waiter's tip position, just kind of back and forth through here. This is a nice nerve stretch for the nerve that comes down the back of your forearm. So that kind of a dynamic movement like that. Yeah. Is a really nice one. And then for hands and wrists, the position, there's a bunch of, hand specific movements that you can do as well. That might be a whole nother topic, but simple, just splay open. You can do finger touching back and forth. A nice one is drawing a line down each finger with your thumb. Okay. Like that, going through that. And then there's some nerve or some tendon glides where if you start with your hand all the way flat, curl down to this kind of position, and then go to the straight out position, to down, and then back to a fist, and then come back up. And that puts you in a bunch of different positions that slide and glide your tendons in some nice ways, as well as make you use some of these deeper muscles in your hand to wake those up as well. So that's up, great. Curl, this kind of funny L position, kind of a touch your palm, fist, and then a typical fist. Awesome. That is so great. Thank you so much. And I will to your physical warm-up routine as well with anyone that's listening and interested to watch it, because I think definitely worth checking out and really, really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that. So this was a great presentation. I learned so much. I hope that you all learned a lot too. This is going to be on our archive on our YouTube channel and also the Diaz del Moral Foundation website. So if you missed the live stream, you can either check it out on the recording on Facebook or on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much to Dr. Weisbach for your time today. We really appreciate you being here, and we will be taking a break from wellness sessions for the next few weeks to prepare for the Puerto Rico Flute Symposium online symposium happening from June 12th to 18th. I believe there is still one day to apply if you'd like to be a masterclass performer, and there's still some time before the competition deadlines as well. So we hope to see you there. And if you have any questions for Dr. Weisbach or about these sessions, go ahead and either send us a message or drop a comment below. So thank you all so much for being here, and have a great day.